Hi, I'm Momita, your executive coach, with yet another episode of the podcast series Rendezvous, the story of power, passion, and purpose. Today, I have with me Preeta Pradhan. She's a wholeness coach. Through her coaching, training, retreats, meditations, and healing modalities, she has helped amazing number of individuals overcome their emotional and physical pain. She's an ICF coach specializing in emotional transformation. She's a certified sound healer and Gong master. She's a guided meditation expert and a breathwork facilitator. Hi, Preeta.
Hi, Momita.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's great weather here, so I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome. And thanks a ton for making time for this little conversation with me today.
Not at all. My pleasure. Entirely.
So, as you know, Preeta, it's the rendezvous, the story of power, passion, and purpose. What do these words mean to you as a person?
I'll be very honest. I have never really given it a thought because, like in my case, I think I'm a very passionate person when I get involved with something. And this comes from other people who watch me. Like, the other day I was talking to my ex-boss and he said, "You're so passionate about what you're doing." And when I think about it, I don't know any other way to be. Like, either I'm interested or I'm not interested. I can't be halfway house. But when you ask these questions, I really pondered about it a bit. And yes, Ikigai has been a learning space for me to understand that where passion and purpose actually meet. So what it means for me is that there is a sweet spot where what you're passionate about and what becomes your purpose actually come to a point. And if you ask me for in my life how it has happened, so purpose. Let me start with passion first. So passion is what you bring in from the world, like from the world around you. What you pick up is your passion, and we as individuals may have many passions. Like I may have passion for looking at sunsets and listening to certain kind of songs, and I mean, be passionate about all of this. But obviously, to find a purpose, you have to see how that passion can translate into something which is of use to somebody in the world. So you find what makes you happy, and then you see how you can offer it to somebody else to make them happy.
Yeah.
And when you can bring the two together, because sometimes we are passionate about things and we are doing something which we think our purpose, but we are not really aligning the two, and we could be happily living life like that, like being passionate about certain things and being purposeful about certain things, but not really aligning. And for me, that alignment has really, I think, brought me power, the power to take decisions which are really out of the ordinary, out of the box, as they say.
I love the alignment of passion and purpose, Preeta. I mean, most of us, we know what we're passionate and very well put, and it ends up being our hobbies. But if I'm able to add value and bring a purpose to it, I think that's a very simply way, but very difficult thing to do for most of us. Thanks for sharing that. So now that you say this passion and purpose, and lastly the power, in your life, and as you mentioned, passion has been your driver. Yeah. But any other instances, any other examples that you can share where power and purpose have also built this Preeta that we see today?
So I mean, what comes to mind is, my career hasn't been a straight line career. I've had many U-turns and different pathways. So when I was in my last job, I joined as manager corporate communications. But by the time I left, I was heading their product strategy and marketing. And through that journey, I had actually done all kinds of projects in all kinds of functions. And I remember asking my boss at one point that, how do you give me a project? Like, why do you give me a project? I have not done it before. I have no expertise in it. Why do you give it to me? he didn't really have an answer at that point, but the question itself brought up in me that what in me allows me to take on things I have no idea about. So I was put in a position where I was given a power to create something. I had no passion about it because I had no idea what it was, but I knew the purpose. I knew the purpose that if I can do it well, then the organization will benefit. And because we were in a startup organization, so how it will allow the organization to grow, and I was part of that growth story. So what I realized about me is that I never say no to learning, unlearning and reinventing. In fact, reinvention seems to be a power that I have. I'm constantly reinventing. uh, I never feel challenged by anything. Anything like seems difficult, I don't think I see it as impossible. I mean, of course, things are impossible. Like if you tell me to go and do bungee jumping, I will say no. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But in a life situation like I'm living right now, and I don't find anything impossible. So if there is a situation which is very difficult, I will still look for possibilities of how to navigate through it. Like currently, what my life situation is,
Yeah.
you know so I don't get phased. So I think that is what creates the person that I am. Because even if I'm not passionate about something, if there's a purpose to it, I will put my power behind it.
Awesome. Awesome. So now that you say these days your life, and so today, what's a priority for you? Is it your passion? Is it the purpose, or is it the power that's driving Preeta today?
So I would say, because my purpose and passion have come together,
Uh,
so I don't even have this question in my mind.
yeah.
I know that. So let me just take a step back. When I left my job and I went to my spiritual master with a question, and I didn't even have to ask the question because somebody asked the question, and that was my question. And question was, how do we serve the world better? And the answer given to that person, which was also an answer for me, the teacher said that the best thing you can do for the world is realize who you truly are. Now that may seem like a very philosophical or a very a profound kind of an answer as to how do you do that. But I know that means that you are always chipping away at your ego and actually coming to your raw self. What is the raw self beneath all the layers that we've built in this lifetime? So when you ask me what is it today, I mean, today the fact that I'm living a much simpler and a much pared down life, like that, there is nothing else beyond what I do. Like I don't need to take a holiday from my life. And I think that eventually, and I've seen many friends, many people who have kind of been my role models in different ways, that when they are able to shed away what seems to be the mold and live from an authentic space, the need to take a holiday from that space reduces, because life is what you would do in a holiday, primarily.
And that's so deep. And right now, taking holiday from what you do, I think that's really a very, very deep way of telling that do what you want to do. And that is what passion is. And I think your passion and purpose is at the right moment at this point. So, since you spoke about the spiritual guru and the self-realization, maybe since our listeners also would want to know, there's a lot of word around this word, talk rather around this power, passion. Oh, you need to know your passion. You need to, and especially the youngsters and everyone you come across, they need to understand why we are here for, the purpose. What would your 2 cents be for these people who are still searching their passion or in striving, looking for their purpose?
So I would like to break it up into two. One is your soul's purpose.
Yeah.
And one is your personal purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So as a person, what is it that I want to achieve in this life? What do I want to be seen as? Becomes my purpose. Like, do I want to be a successful entrepreneur? Do I want to be a successful engineer? Whatever. So I find that, and that can only come from experimenting, exploring, and whatever options are given to you. Sometimes you're given limited options, so you become the best of what you can do. So I would say that at that level, be the best of whatever you're doing, however small that may seem. Like here, I would like to share the story. Like, they say that the marble which becomes the statue and the marble which becomes the flooring is the same marble. So it's the same thing with human beings. I mean, you can do a job as a very boring job, that I'm just doing this boring work, or you can make it into something very purposeful for you. The soul's purpose is only to find itself, which means that, again, I don't want to really go into the philosophy of it, but basically, who am I truly beyond this label that I have as the name of Preeta? Preeta is a role I am playing, and I'm also playing the role of a daughter and a sister and a wife, and the zillion roles that we all play. But there is something which is playing all these roles. We start believing ourselves to be the roles that we are playing, and then we forget to see that something in me is actually aware that I'm playing these roles. So that separation, or that realization that I am not the role I am playing, but it's a role that I am playing. So according to me, eventually we have to come to that point where we can. And a lot of people I speak to, they say, not now. After I have done all this personal bit, then I will reach that point where I will go to Rishikesh and rest. But I am saying, I have met young people who have left successful careers and are living in Rishikesh. Rishikesh is just one town, but there could be many other people in many other places.
And that's what I guess, that's the calling, right? That's what people refer to. Like, what is your final true calling? And that's what I understand the soul. I really don't know when I'll be at it, but thank you, Pika, for sharing this, I think, amazing insight towards these words, which can go really deep. So one last thing before I say bye-bye today to you. One thing that you would definitely want our listeners to take away with when they hear this words power, passion, and purpose.
So I would say that let's not get caught by labels so much.
Yeah.
And actually, in fact, it's very simple. When I read Power of Now many, many years ago, and at a time in my life when I was going through a difficult phase, what I learned was that whatever it is that you're doing, whether it is drinking a cup of tea, or it is chopping vegetables in the kitchen, or whatever you're doing, just put your full attention in that what you're doing. Be fully present. Like when I'm talking to you, I shouldn't allow my mind to take my attention away. I have to be fully present and just focusing on what is happening here. So the one word I would say is, the more mindful you become of where your attention is at any given point of time, you will find that time also expands. Time becomes, larger. There's more space in the time. And multitasking, I think, is something that we need to drop. We need to get back to monotasking, and which doesn't mean that you don't do multiple things, but you do one thing at a time, fully present. So that is what that is something that I had to learn, because I was a great multitasker. And then I had to learn that no way, this is not going to take you far.
I guess the multitask word itself tells us how credible we are and what more we can do together, but we realize we do only one task at a time. I think that's a wonderful message to leave with, Preeta. And thank you again. Thanks for your wisdom, and thanks for sharing this, genuine thoughts. And I'm sure it will be helpful to each one of us. Thank you again.
Thank you, Momita, for this platform. I'm sure it will reach many people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm sure you enjoyed the conversation, as I love talking to Preeta today. Do stay tuned in and follow my podcast series